Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the object 777. And I'm going to be making this video in a longer format compared to my usual 3-minute videos, maybe something around 5 minutes, just so you guys, especially the people who've been asking me to make longer videos, are heard. So anyway, I'm going to be comparing this tank to the other Soviet tier 10 tanks in the game, of course, and we're going to be seeing whether or not this tank is actually good enough. Now, firstly, let's start off with the armor, because this is a heavy tank and most people are interested about the armor profile. Let me be clear, this tank is not an indestructible weapon. If you look at an IS-4 and an IS-7, the armor on these tanks is going to be a tier above that of the object 777. However, that doesn't mean this tank lacks armor. I would put it in a similar profile as that of a Super Conqueror, right? The only difference being that even though the turret here is very, very strong, you only have 6 degrees of gun depression, which is really, really annoying. Apart from that, the armor profile, again, the lower plate is humongous. A lot of people will penetrate you, so it's not that hard. And especially the sides are not as strong as you would expect a Soviet tank to be or to have. The IS-7 and the IS-4 are going to be, again, a tier above this tank when it comes to the side armor, because the object 777 will be easily penetrated by a lot of tanks into the side. The IS-4 will ricochet shots and here and there really randomly to the side, while the IS-7 sometimes does not get penetrated from a 90-degree angle into the side. Come on, that is super duper troll, and the object 777 doesn't necessarily have that. But I will be honest and fair, this tank does get a lot of troll shots onto it as well. Maybe because it's a new tank, time will tell. But definitely if you compare this tank to the average heavy tank at tier 10 and the object 260, it's going to have a little bit better armor compared to, you know, those tanks. So mediums and lights will definitely struggle. TD's not a problem. I'll smash right through you. But that does make kind of sense, right? So moving along from the armor, we're going to be looking at the gun itself. And here the tank has 3,100 DPM. That is very good. This is better than the IS-7, IS-4, and Object 260. Why? Well, because this tank has 430 alpha, which is a very interesting alpha, coupled with an 8.25 second reload. This means that this tank has better DPM than every other Soviet tier 10 tank. Well, heavy tank, excuse me. So in that regard, it is going to be very good. I like seeing these 3.1k DPM on the stat list, because this makes the tank look a lot scarier than it is. On top of that, the weapon handling itself is also solid. The aim time is pretty much identical to that of the Object 260, while the dispersion is a little bit worse than the IS-4. If you compare this tank directly to the IS-4 and the IS-7, it has much better weapon handling than both of these tanks, coupled with the fact that it has better DPM, right? This tank has better DPM and better weapon handling than the IS-7 and the IS-4, and in some regards, it's better than the Object 260 as well, even though the 260 has no armor, so that's that. So the gun is, again, very solid. The armor is pretty decent as well. Now, when it comes to the mobility, it's a Soviet tank, and it won't be sluggish. It has 45 kilometers forward, same as the IS-7 and better than the IS-4, and a pretty good power to weight ratio. So 15 horsepower per ton, 15 and a half that is, and that is going to be a little bit worse than the IS-7, but better than the IS-4. So in this regard, the tank is also very mobile for more or less the armor it has and for the gun it carries. Just look at the Super Conqueror, and that tank is really sluggish in comparison to, you know, something like this. So in that regard, this tank is just very good, because the gun is good, you have some good armor, and you have great mobility. So you have all three things. What does this tank not have? Let's talk about that. And that is, my main concern is definitely going to be the 6 degrees of gun depression. This tank is super duper low. And so using this tank even on a ridgeline is going to be really annoying, where you have to move the whole tank to a better angle in order to shoot. That is going to be the biggest weakness of this tank, and that's one of the things I hate a lot about this tank. apart from that, the tank is super duper solid, and I barely see a weakness on this thing. So very, very strong tank, but also it's not OP. It's not borderline OP. None of the stats are really, really good. It's just that the stats are better than, you know, than the average tier 10 tank. And so you have a solid tank when you combine all of it together. So tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And with that, Happy is out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.